Hidden Object Guru here, joined by...
The Gun Wrangler.
And we are looking to play some more Viscera cleanup detail and, far more importantly, talk about the two shows that I'm currently obsessed with. And I think you know what those shows are better than anybody.
Oh, yes. We have The Expanse and Counterpart.
Which, wow. I gotta say, Counterpart, there's a show that just came out of nowhere to get fantastic. Oh my god.
I know. It was literally, I was up late one night.
Yeah.
And I was on Canadian Hulu, and I was like, all right, well, gotta
Everybody
watch
loves
something.
J.K. Simmons. What the hell?
Yeah.
You know, give it a look. And, oh my god. He is amazing. But you know what? We'll get there. First, we're going to talk about The Expanse, which I am taking one episode at a time because that's how people in the past had to watch it, and I don't want to binge my way through what is apparently the most addictive show there is.
Yeah, I would definitely say if it's not the most addictive, it's definitely up there.
Oh my god! So, all right, where we last left us off on The Expanse. A ship had just been blown up, leaving just 5 people alone in that ship's shuttlecraft. Which, yikes!
Yep.
Right. So they were not in a good position. Meanwhile, Tom Jane was off looking for a missing woman, who we saw on the ship that the shuttlecraft went to investigate last week, and we haven't heard from her since. So we don't know what's going on there. And Shora Agdalashu, the vice president of Earth, essentially. Now she's very high up in Earth politics, is the point. She was torturing a Belter separatist who was caught moving really high-end stealth technology to Earth, and she was torturing him in one of the creepiest ways I've seen. Just hanging him on a wall where he can't breathe.
Well, it's not that he can't breathe, it's just that his bones are so brittle and fucked up from
He can't take
low
the gravity.
gravity.
Well, no, he can't take the gravity and he can't breathe. It's actually both, which is really
There's a series of things going on here.
Hell. Like he's not doing well for himself in that situation, which, ugh. Yeah, it's a pretty messed up thing to do to a dude who already has enough problems with, not having working bones. So yeah, that was one hell of a first episode, and this one picks up exactly where it left off. We get more from Tom Jane. We just see a little investigation on his part, which was nice. We actually see him doing his job. Someone is stealing water, and it's up to him to do something about it.
Just remember that character, by the way.
Oh, the character who he runs off and tells him, the character who he gives a pass to for stealing water?
Yeah.
Okay, I will remember that. Yeah, and it's nice. They show, essentially, I don't want to understate what he does for a living, but they kind of show you that it's way easier being a cop in a 100% surveilled high-tech future. Like, literally, this is not a hard crime to solve when they're keeping track. And actually, he points that out, that it's like, if water is the one thing that they've always got an eye on. As long as you don't try to steal water, you can pretty much get away with. There's not enough resources to deal with all the crime, but the second you mess with water. They have you.
Yeah,
I kind of like that idea.
I'm not sure. Could you parse what Diego was saying?
Basically, I got it. Yeah, but it was very rough.
Okay, so in the show, most of the Belters speak Beltalanga, which is like a sort of polyglot. It's a Creole, essentially.
Yeah, I've been calling it Belterese, but obviously that is not what it's really called.
We prefer Belter Creole.
There you go.
And so, what's it called? What he says is, when they're speaking, is, Tom Jane basically goes, listen, you're going to get fucked up. There's 2 options here. The government will find you. That's good. That is your best case scenario right here. The Loca Gracia find you, which are like a huge criminal syndicate. They'll cut off your fingers and feed them to you
Oh,
to start.
Jesus.
And so Diego responds with, yeah, but the Loca Gracia aren't around. And that's like going to a Teamsters union hall and being like, oh yeah, there's no mobsters.
There's no mobsters here. What are you talking about?
No, it's more,
Oh,
you know,
that's beautiful.
like, he's not saying that sarcastically. He's like, no, there's just no mobsters. No one's trying to stop us. They all fucked off somewhere.
Oh, that's
Right?
going to get interesting.
And so he's just Tom Jane sort of pauses for a moment and goes, I'm not sure that's right. But, like,
Something to look into.
this is something for future consideration.
Okay. All right. That's actually very interesting.
Yes.
Oh my
It
God.
helps to have a translate. Like, I had to watch it a couple of times to
really pick up all of it. Yeah, and I'm not surprised. Like, it's a dense show, and they got the terror of space. So yeah, the Tom Jane story is very interesting this week. But the thing that really captivated me was the terror of space storyline, which, oh my God. So first off, the one thing that bothered me was they're like, oh no, the debris field from the thing that just got nuked is coming towards us, which is a terrifying idea. And I'm like, hey, idiots, you're literally next to an asteroid. You just hid behind the asteroid to avoid the nuke, which turned out wasn't coming for you. But if there's a thing of, we've seen you dance around this asteroid and get really close into the asteroid. So just, oh, you see the debris field coming. You got 20 seconds. I've seen how fast your ship moves. Just get behind the asteroid. You'll be fine. And it kind of bothered me that they didn't. But that is the only complaint I have about that scene, because it's a scene about how unbelievably fragile everything in space is. And watching their ship getting torn apart by these tiny pieces of the icebreaker was fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, what a visual. I mean, I don't even know why getting various cords severed causes your airlock to open, but that does seem like the kind of horrific stuff that can happen in space. So bravo.
Yeah. Well,
I
mean,
it looked great.
Yeah. First of all, it looked great. Second of all, it's not the important part. Is more the fact that it's, it reinforces the fragility of everything.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the whole thing that compelled me about it, is just this idea that you're watching, you think they're walking around, they've got gravity, things are going great, but then the slightest bit of space creeps in there, and oh my God, they really have, there is nothing protecting them from the rest of space, from, them being murdered by space is the best way to look at it. And yeah, just the idea of them all having to put on their suits for an hour while they fix the outside of the ship because they can't get the what do you call it? The pressurizing thing to work more than once. Like, they can't get the airlock to work, so they're going to have to suck out all the oxygen and store it and dump and then open the thing manually and then get back. Oh, that's a terrifying idea, and it plays out horrifically. And it's interesting how he loses his commission immediately.
Yes, this is the way the world really works.
Yeah,
if you're an officer, get fucked.
Yeah. Well, no, it's interesting because it's like you understand why he wants to do, and the weird part is, like, yeah, they probably would have gotten killed had they tried to follow the ship that nuked their thing. But the end of the episode may, what's going on Earth, and maybe I'm all wrong about this, and the end of the episode suggests that no, that wasn't a Martian ship that blew up their own craft. It's a third party who's trying to start something, who's using Martian stealth tech, which we know is in play. And the reason they were lured there was, as we see, not to blow it up, but to create a witness to Martians blowing up this what do you call it? This Belter ship, right?
Mhm.
This supply ship, to start a feud between Earth and Mars.
Now the question is, do you want me to give you an answer
No,
to
don't
that?
tell me if I'm right or wrong. No, I'm
Okay.
going to experience the show. I'm just telling you where I'm at as a viewer, and you can now gloat later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does seem like that's where they're going, because we've got this loose stealth tech. Until everyone seems to be operating under the idea that until this guy showed up smuggling this stuff around, only Mars had this stealth tech, and we know stealth tech was integral to the ambush on the icebreaker. So
Yeah, and it's Mars proprietary technology, and
Yeah.
it's the main reason Mars has independence and
Yeah.
continues to be independent.
Yeah, because no one can take them on, because they have the ability to move their fleets without anybody knowing where they are, which is an impossibly important ability, especially in outer space combat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I get it. It seems like that's where they're going. I'm not going to make any predictions yet because I'm just enjoying the show. And again, how great is the note of Tom Jane having to pour his booze at an angle because he's in a constantly
Rotating
the
asteroid,
rotating means they're constantly in a kind of free fall.
Yeah,
You know?
it's little things like that you'll notice throughout the series that just
just these little details that shows that they care about doing space right.
I'm starting to think that maybe next time you watch, just hit me up on Skype so I can
walk me
translate.
Through some of it. Yes.
Because that's one of those things. The Belter Creole, Belta Lauda, is very present in the show.
Yeah.
And it can be not disconcerting, but if you don't know what they're saying,
it's not a show, and I think what impresses me is it's not a show that's that concerned about holding your hands. It trusts that it's a good enough show that we're going to put in the work. And how many shows do you get to say that about?
Yeah.
So
this and the other one we're watching this week.
Exactly. It's a show that respects its audience. And speaking of shows that respect their audience, let's start talking about Counterpart, because, oof, that was a 4th episode. Okay, so they were just trying to make it look like she'd overdosed again. Although, who knows? I mean, maybe they would have been happy if she died either way. It's not really clear.
I get the impression that either way, like,
was
she could
fine
die.
by them. Yeah. Or she's died, she discredited. Either way is fine by them. It's really the sense I got from that scene.
Oh
my God.
They removed her from play.
Yep. And can I just say how this is our first really big the episode to get our first really big and intense J.K. Simmons / J.K. Simmons scene.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, he's so good that it's reaching the Dead Ringers level of, are you sure there aren't actually 2 of them?
Yeah.
Like, that's how good this performance is.
And that poker scene.
Exactly.
That was really good. I'm not sure if you want to. We're already spoiling it.
We're already.
Anyways.
I mean, again, I think we are on the record for saying you have to watch Counterpart.
Yes.
It's fine if we talk about the specific details of a scene, because everyone should be watching Counterpart already.
And I mean, anyone who's listening to us has had a whack of shit spoiled, anyways.
I know. And I mean, we're going to keep spoiling Counterpart because it's just amazing. It really is a fantastic.
Shit just needs to be discussed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this. Whew, okay, well, first off, in the least surprising twist ever, the ambassador from Earth 2 is evil. Like we knew that last week. Like I have rarely seen a man so telegraphed as a scumbag as we got last week. They did not want us to be surprised by that at all, and we weren't. So yeah, that was just very, very well done, actor and director and writers. But yeah, just a
No,
real
you'll know when
dirtbag.
they want you to be surprised.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm still. Oof. I mean, yeah, everything is saying that Stephen Ray is in on it with them. It's just I'm not. I feel like it was too easy for him to get that information. And you might
I
say it wasn't too easy, but I feel like it was. But anyway, you might be
um
you're ready to say Pope's the bad guy. I could be overthinking this.
I don't think Pope's the bad guy. I think
Okay.
he was in on it
Okay.
up to a certain point,
Right. Because it's
and
his
then he
network.
goes, yeah, it's like essentially he built this super clandestine network and has been shipping people over for years and years.
Yeah.
And at some point he just sort of goes, maybe this isn't whatever we're having, whatever we're planning. This just doesn't seem quite kosher.
And that's what his meeting with J.K. Simmons with Prime in the first episode is about, sussing out where he is and seeing how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, it makes sense from what we know about the character, and it makes sense from everything we've seen in the episode. So yeah, I can totally see it going that way. Then we've got, oh my god. I really, God, the emotional stuff works on this show.
Yeah.
Like, it really does. Get it, just, first off, the payoff from episode 3, no, I guess episode 2, that, yeah, no, J.K. Simmons wasn't just acting. He really was a shitty father.
Yeah.
That was nice. Because I did not see that coming.
There was also, he didn't tell J.K. Simmons Prime
Yeah.
that, oh, hey, by the way, I have a kid.
Yeah.
I think he just assumed that,
You didn't either. Yeah. And yeah, it's so well done. But just like the payoff from episode 2 is like, no, that wasn't just jive. He actually is a bad father who has a terrible relationship with his daughter and doesn't know how to make it right.
Yeah.
That was a nice reveal. I was very impressed with that.
Oh, the fact that his daughter is kind of a shit.
Yeah. Well, what does she put up with though?
That's something we don't know.
Her dad is a constantly absent, kind of dirtbag, and her mother is a drug addict.
Yeah, it's one of those things because
I get where she's coming from.
It's something that really tickled my fancy.
Yeah.
When it's revealed that alternate Howard Silk got everything he wanted in life.
Yeah.
Essentially, he got that promotion.
He got his daughter, he got a promotion, and look at how it's all turned out for him.
He became this awful... He's essentially a wet worker.
Yeah, no.
He's now a murderer. This is how he do.
For the government.
Yeah.
And
that's probably off the books, too.
Oh, definitely off the books. He is definitely also off the books, because he knows for a fact that, his alternate self could have been locked up in a room for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And realistically, like, his work would not be that surprised. He seems to come and go as he pleases because he does the bad things for people. And so everyone's kind of expecting him to have a bad thing he needs to be doing.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and it's good characterization, it's good world building. We get really great looks at Earth 2 this time, and whew!
It's fucked.
Oh my god, as you said, as you pointed out from last time, there's nobody there. Like, nobody lives there.
Yeah.
Because everybody got killed. Like, there's this tiny amount of population. Basically, I loved the I don't know if it was UV or what it was supposed to be, but the hand sanitizing stations everywhere, where they're constantly putting their hands over things to have them like UV cleaned because they can't risk touching things.
That's something I also noticed about. It's not something I picked up on at first. It took a second viewing.
Yeah.
But all the medical shit, she's got like a super magic future tech wristband on.
Yep.
And despite that, everything at the most secure site on the planet is run on paper.
Yep.
Everything. There's no computers.
No, because they can't risk it. Like, it has to be unhackable.
No, it's not it at all. They just don't have the technology that.
Oh no, I think they have the technology. I thought that I was interpreting the reason it was all done on paper in the most secure site on the planet was because it had to be secure, and only paper is secure.
Nope.
Really?
I interpreted it as there just wasn't, like, computers are not ubiquitous. The only place that really has computers
Yeah.
is the hospitals. You could even tell it from the guns that the guards all have.
Right.
In our world, they have current model G36Cs. They've got, just generally
high-end German weaponry. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of given. It is UN.
Yeah, it is German. Yeah.
But on the other side, they're all using vintage MP5s from like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. I know, I mean, they've made those statements about technology, but I think, and you're right about technology being locked away, because, again, look at how she look at how his wife lives.
Yeah.
Like, look at the, the high-tech apartments we see on one side, and the other side we see, like, these old, like, first off, the old wallpaper, there's been no renovations, there's probably has gas heatings, we have, like, those old lamps with the flip switches in the middle, like really low-tech stuff. And I mean, there is that to a certain level, but I honestly think the stuff I think the fact that all of the passports are a certain way is a security issue more than a technological issue. But you could be right as well. I'm sure we're going to get more evidence for both of our theories. My take on it was simply that, you can't have digital records because digital records by their very nature can't be kept secure.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a 1 and a 0. When you've got a paper passport, there are anti-counterfeiting things that go into that paper passport that you can see when it was stamped with what ink. Like I think it on some level that is more secure than doing it digitally with barcodes and scanners the way we do it now.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed was words. The decor.
Yeah.
I did love all the decor. Everything on the other side looks like it's vintage 1975.
Yeah. No, that's true. Like they haven't, or maybe into the 80s, but yeah, like they have not advanced. Yeah, and it goes again. It's the culture on brink of collapse. They don't have the time and effort to be putting into fashion and design anymore, since they're all just trying to survive.
I think we're actually seeing them after that point.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing that, like, the struggles for survival is no longer a deal.
Yeah.
But at this point, that's not an improvement. Because, like, okay, yeah, now we're no longer struggling to survive, but at the same time,
there are so few of us, are we advancing anymore?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to laser some of these boxes to death.
Okay.
Is it working?
Making a huge mess. Yeah, no, it's working. You're just making a huge mess everywhere. Because now we have to get buckets of water, and it's a whole thing. We could have just carried boxes into the fire room. The one good thing about his burns is they don't track new footprints, so we can get to them whenever, but it's not like we had a lot of clean water buckets lying around.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, no, but that's definitely one way to look at it, and I think you could be right about that. Okay, so the small burns don't make footprints, but the big burns do, so go get some buckets of water.
All right.
Yeah, no, I think that factors in. I think you're totally right about that. That they are on the other side of the extinction level event they were facing. And I guess you have to have this is going to sound weird, but you have to have a certain size of population before you can have a popular culture, before you can have trends and media in the same way. And I feel like their population might be below that level.
Yeah, below that
I am,
critical threshold.
and I am so curious about what she was in a theater to see back last episode when we watched that great big infomercial about about always doing your checkups and such.
Yeah.
Like, what was she there to see?
And there, and that was another thing that got me in this episode. It's, if you don't do your checkups, you're going to jail.
Yep.
Have peace of mind in your new home. We're going to sterilize it.
Yep. I do like the idea in there that no, you cannot, it is not legal to be anything but completely healthy. And it's not like they have different words for it. Quarantine is jail. Jail is quarantine.
Yep.
Oh, such a nice idea. But yeah, it's like these are people who have got to take this stuff seriously. And it's no wonder they're so anxious to get over to, still need that bucket of water.
Yeah, I know.
I just see you dropping other stuff down. Yeah, no, it's like I can see why people are desperate to get over. Like, they're living in hell right now. And obviously our side looks that much more, like that much better. Oh, it's so, and I know we haven't done it yet, but what I really want to do is, what we really haven't done yet, that I'm kind of excited to get to, is what is it like when someone from that side finds out that there's a better world? Because all we've seen so far is someone from this side find out that there's a worse world.
No, I think that was brought up by what's-her-face, skeevy assassin lady.
No, but I'm saying, but she's a skeevy assassin lady. I'm saying, what happens when just someone who's just a person in that world? Like, what happens when they find out that there's a better world? Like, we've seen operatives from that world. Like, we've got a bit of what it was like for J.K. Simmons to find out, right? What it was like. No, but I'm just saying, it's like, what happens when just someone who's trying to live their life in that world finds out that, oh, there's heaven out there. There's a grass is greener. There's a beautiful version of our world that I could have been living in. That there's a other version of me living in. Like, You're right that we did a little bit of that, but only through the eyes of operatives and assassins and stuff. What happens when it's just a person? And so, like, our world, right? Our world is kind of safe from the dangers of finding out, because it's like, we would be interested to find out that there's another world out there, but it's not like we want to move there. What happens if the hundreds of millions of people living in that world all found out that there's a better version of Earth they could be living on? It seems like that could go bad for the people running that Earth very quickly.
Oh, it's one of those things I hadn't really thought about was, would there be migration?
Exactly.
And how would people cope with the idea that, hey, there's another you, and they're probably doing a lot better?
Oh, yeah. And I think that's what fascinates me the most, is this is all the first generation of people this has happened to. And that's the smart starting point of the show, is because this is all the first generation that this is happening to, everybody's got a double. I mean, only weird situations where his wife has a miscarriage is there not a double for the daughter. And I assume that's not the norm. There, you probably don't have a double because most of the Earth got killed by pandemics, right?
Yeah.
But anyone from over there almost certainly has a double here.
Yeah.
And again, that's why they're focusing on that aspect of it.
And that's one of those things. Think about how mad you would be, like, if you had a relative who had, like, some horrible chronic disease.
Yeah.
That they've cured. And and the cure has been essentially held up because diplomats from both sides are squeezing each other as hard as they can.
Yeah, that would get frustrating fast. Oh, God, it's this. I mean, just again, like all great sci-fi, it's bringing up really interesting moral quandaries. Like, it's just amazing stuff to think about. There's so much going on here. No,
There is, and I have a lurking suspicion
yeah.
that there are a lot of people from the other side who have come over.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that's
they're
definitely one
essentially
of the things they're suggesting. That they're all over the place.
like the butcher dude,
Yeah,
and he's like, I get the impression he's just essentially retired. He's like, yeah, you know what?
yeah. Maybe he keeps a hand in because that's the responsibility
Safe.
you have to do in order to get one of these passports over. In order to get it's not like they let you go and emigrate to the other side for nothing. You have to be there if they need you. But he really does seem to just be retired. He seems to be out of the game.
That's just it, because it's implied that he came over, he was a spy, he was doing some nefarious shit, and after a while he's just like, no, I'm
All
good.
right, well, yeah, now I just live here. Yeah, I mean, he was a sleeper agent,
Yep.
and now he's just a guy who lives there, which is an
Yep.
interesting idea.
It's something that I have some questions about, because it seems like the other side is,
Yeah.
you can be a sleeper agent, but you gotta whack your other.
Yes.
Right?
I know, it's so and then that's the real question, is like, does that happen to everybody, or does the fact that, like, are there people who... Well, yeah, and that's the question, like, the control for the murderer we've been following, Baldwin, her control, they talk about, so she got rid of her other, right?
No, that happened in the second episode.
No, her control. Not Baldwin, her control.
Oh, okay.
Did she like? Do we know what happened? Because she talks about seeing her other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do we know what happened to her other? Because in that story, I don't remember her saying that she killed her. Like,
I think it's kind of implied
yeah. I mean, it seems
that,
to be,
like,
but it's just,
I saw this woman who was me living this amazing life,
yeah,
and I couldn't deal with that.
yeah. And I mean, that's the subtext, but I don't know if we can be guaranteed that that's. Although, I mean, it is. The weird part is, you say it's cleaner, but at the same time, it's not like you can take over their life. And if you're going around killing your other, well, then it might actually draw attention to the fact that, well, now there's another. If that, like, because you're not going to take over their life, right? There's no chance of that. And if that person gets killed, well, then what happens now that there's another person walking around with their face? So I don't know that they do get rid of the other version of themselves. Anyway, I'm sure this is going to get explored and explained more going forward. But yeah, there's a lot of issues being brought up about the mechanics of this, because I think the job one, like the primary job of all of these people, is to make sure nobody finds out this is going on.
Yeah.
Although, I know how television is structured, and it's frustrating me so much that we're going to have to wait how many more episodes to find out what their plan is. Because obviously the people from the other side are working on a plan to do something. Like, are they going to reveal what's going on to the general public? Are they trying to take over? Are they trying to replace world leaders on our side? Like, what is their move exactly?
I don't know, because I kind of think, since the others have been like, yeah, there's this group of really extreme, crazy people, essentially.
Yeah.
These are a fringe group of illegals.
Right.
I'm inclined to say that they might want to spread a plague.
It could be. No, I mean, that to balance out the two sides, to get revenge.
Well, you can see from Lambert's reaction at that meeting that there's at least some people who consider what happened essentially, if not deliberate, then
caused
negligent.
by a negligence. Yeah, a very bad like a dangerous amount of negligence, and which raises the question. It's like, so if they caused a plague on our side, then they would finally have one hell of a bargaining chip to deal with.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like
it'd
they
be a
would.
huge hometown advantage if
Oh
they
yeah,
just.
if they release a plague that they have the cure for. Yeah, well suddenly, maybe they could just mass emigrate from that world now.
Or they could just squeeze them,
Yeah,
right? They don't need to emigrate.
if they make their planet that much better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
But
it's. Sorry, go
no,
on.
it's very interesting, and I'm very interested to see where the show goes. The point is, this is one of the most exciting new shows out there. Like it really is. It's been fantastic. Every episode has been a very a good step forward, and every episode we get at least a little bit of fun spy tradecraft stuff. And this time it was the
Dead
the
drops.
lengths that he has to go to pass a message back to his employee in Earth 2.
We don't actually even get to see what the message is.
I know it's got to be the instructions to keep Howard locked away. Because it's not like he knew Howard was going to go back instead of him. Yet when the guy picks up Howard at the airport, he knows that his job is to keep Howard locked away in a room for 2 weeks until he comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what the message is, but you're right that we don't see it. It's all that really makes sense to me. But you know what? Again, there can always be more going on. That's part of the fun of this show. Yeah, like there can always be another level to stuff, which, it's a spy show, and it's a really good spy show. It just also happens to be a very good sci-fi show. Like it's so rare that you get this kind of hybrid show that really works. I'm looking at you, Alias. Sorry. We all
You mean
remember
Walius? It's much better, cousin.
Oh, God. Oh, Alias was so... Ugh. Because that's the thing. I mean, I compare this, I think, rightly to Fringe, because of the stuff about alternate dimensions. Although Fringe, it was both alternate dimensions and time travel. But the point is, like, I think it's right to compare these two. But Fringe, there was never an extra level to Fringe. Fringe was always what it was. It was a monster of the week, sci-fi horror show. Just yet another X-Files ripoff that gradually developed an interesting through line.
Well,
Whereas
it had...
Yeah.
Fringe was carried by essentially one character, and that's the Mad Doctor.
Yeah. And he's just this fascinating character who you love his adventures. And you had a main character who... I don't want to say too many bad things about her, who has a face that looks like she's always about to start crying.
Well,
she looks just perpetually like she's half a second away from starting to cry.
Yeah, from a good solid cry.
Like pretty much always.
Plus, her character was really flat.
Yeah.
Oh well, I
for
guess I'm superhuman now.
Oh God, I know. Yeah, she did not emote the way I think the character needed to. But you know what? We're not here to complain about.
Fringe.
Fringe, a show that, did a lot of interesting things, but was not great. Really not great. But anyway, but this show manages to be two things. It's a sci-fi show, right? It is a sci-fi show, but it's also just a really interesting spy drama at the same time. Like, it's not... So far, the sci-fi stuff isn't overwhelming the spy stuff and the human drama. And I have very high expectations for this going forward, because it's been excellent so far. So, fingers crossed, it just keeps getting better.
I'm curious to think I'm wondering, where do you think the Expanse is going?
Oh. All right. My only prediction is that we are going to, right... My real question, right now, the only place I want it to go, the only place I'm really interested in, is solving the mystery of we know how the Earth stuff is tied in with the space stuff. Like, we know that the the cloaking technology is this nice link point. We understand how these are tied in. And I have to assume that what's going on with Tom Jane and the missing girl is tying in with that as well. But I don't see how yet, and I am desperate to find out.
I
Like, 'cause
will
it-
drop a little spoiler.
Please.
The stealth tech
Yeah.
and Thomas Jane
Yes.
and whatever else,
Okay.
totally unrelated.
So they're not going to tie in together. Okay. That is a huge surprise.
It kind of ties in, but it's not in the way you're thinking, because this show is like, there's a significant amount of future story.
Right.
So yeah, just be aware that
Don't be disappointed if there are plot lines that don't intersect.
don't intersect for like another 4 seasons.
Okay. All right, that was not something I was expecting to hear. Well, you know what? I'm on board for the ride. I think that's clear.
And don't forget, season 3 is coming out sometime, eventually,
Season 3?
of The Expanse.
I thought they were already. I thought they were already past season 3.
No.
They're not. Oh, okay. So we're just patiently waiting. Ooh. All right. I can do that. All right. So I think that's that. Do you have a quiz you want to give people this week?
All right, do we want Counterpart or...
I think it's easier to do Expanse because you know Expanse, but if you can come up with a Counterpart quiz, I say go for it.
I'll have to wait till next week. I'll figure that out next week.
Yeah, watch next week's episode, figure out. So just hit us, you're an Expanse super fan, hit us with an Expanse quiz based on this week's episode.
Based on this week's episode.
Yeah.
Where is Amos from?
Okay. And is that our super fan? Is it going to take a super fan to get that one, or is that one?
It
that's,
will not.
Okay.
This is I would call this a freebie.
Okay. Where is Amos from, everybody? Have you been paying attention? Well, here's your chance to score in the quiz. All right, so I think that's that. Let's wrap this up now. I've been the Hidden Object Guru.
And I have been, as always, the Gun Wrangler.
There's going to be buttons for seeing more of my stuff. The Gun Wrangler doesn't have other stuff to watch just yet.
No, that ain't me.
That ain't him. So join us back here for more next week as I watch the rest for a brief check-in on those two shows and a more in-depth look at Star Trek Discovery. Or, unless, of course, Star Trek Discovery proves to be so terrible that I have to watch it talk about it instantaneously the second I finish the season. Which I'm
Spoiler
hearing
alert.
from
Yes.
I'm hearing from the other person on this podcast show that is in fact the case. So I'm very interested to see how this goes. But anyway, but we'll be back here with more. Obviously, there's a bunch of new content from me elsewhere. And hey, my game, Clown in the Woods, is coming along nicely. The sprites are being drawn right now. The backgrounds are being put together. So sooner rather than later, you're going to be able to play hot new game, Clown in the Woods.
I played the prequel. It was
played
pretty
the prequel.
good.
Everybody can play the prequel right away. It's called Take the Job, and it's available at itch.io. But I'm glad to hear you liked it, because we have not talked about it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, Clown in the Woods. It's the story of a clown in the woods, and that's all I'm going to give you for right now. But let's just say, if this thing sells well, who knows? Maybe that clown will go other places. Maybe we're going to get Clown in Space, inspired by my love of The Expanse.
Or possibly your love of Leprechaun.
Yeah, also Leprechaun. And I think it would actually be kind of funny if the second game in the series was Clown in Space. Like, we didn't make people wait until the fourth game for the clown to go to space.
Yeah.
And it's like Clown in Space, then the third one would be Clown in Time, and then the fourth one, weirdly, would just be like Clown at the Circus. Like, you wait until the fourth entry when things are supposed to go crazy, but instead that's where he should have been in the first place. I think that would be a nice twist on the formula. But you know what? That's something for the future. Thanks for joining us for this exploration of amazing show the shows The Expanse and Counterpart, and we'll see you back here for more.